Okay. Okay, we should be ready to go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 10th regular council meeting for the town of Three Rivers. I want to call the meeting to order, and in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory, Epiwik, Prince Edward Island. Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years past, present, and future. So I'll call the meeting to order, and the next on our agenda is approval of the agenda. So it's moved by Councillor Van Donkersgoed, second by Councillor Spin. Any comments or additions to the agenda? Hearing none. Yes, we have added a closed session. I'm not sure if everybody. Yeah. I'm using another.
Yeah, I sent out the new agenda. Right?
Oh, okay, great, thank you. Yeah, so we will have a closed session at the end of the regular meeting. Okay. And it was out on the latest agenda. Okay, number 3 on our agenda is the. I'm sorry. All in favor? Okay. Motion is carried. Number 3 is conflict of interest. Has anybody in conflict of interest on any of the items on our agenda tonight? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to number 4, which is the adoption of the May 11th meeting minutes. Okay, sorry, I'm just, okay, so the motion is that the minutes of the May 11, 2026 regular council meeting be adopted as written. Moved by Deputy Mayor Jenkins, second by Councillor Van Donkersgoed. Any errors, omissions, or comments on those minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Okay, not hearing any nays, that is carried. So number 5 is our RCMP report, and I do believe we have an officer here. Would you, okay? How you guys doing? Good. Come on, you can come to the podium and Constable Gladman. Okay, welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Just turn on.
Okay, you just have to push. Press the button. There, you're good.
We're working. Okay. So, policing initiatives. Throughout the month of May, Kings District RCMP members have responded to several calls for service. Notably, they have assisted in an individual experiencing a mental health crisis. Through the effective collaboration with community mental health services, members successfully de-escalated the situation and ensured that the individual received the appropriate support and to progress through a healthier mental state. In addition, members identified a dangerous driver involved in a single vehicle MVC without any injuries. Following the investigation, the driver was found to be impaired and subsequently charged. Continuing with our commitment to road safety, RCMP located and charged 5 other drivers with impaired driving and two individuals potentially facing charges pending blood alcohol results. During Road Safety Week, held from May 12th to May 18th, Kings District joined forces with MAD and PEI Traffic Services to conduct check stops. Approximately 1,000 vehicles were inspected as part of the initiative, and Kings RCMP remains dedicated to ensuring the safety and well-being of our communities through such efforts. I was made aware that you guys were emailed this and kind of went over the statistics and stuff like that. So if there's any other questions you guys have, I'm more than happy to answer them.
No, we do have the report. Any questions for the constable?
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Appreciate it. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
I'll click this thing off.
Okay, great.
Sit back down. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Stumble through it.
Okay, where's my,
Presentation.
yep, but I just want to read my, yep. Next on our agenda is our presentations and speakers. We have 4 speakers for tonight. And do I have that? Okay. What did I do with it? Yeah. Oh, I have it here. So before we begin the presentations, I just want to highlight the purpose of our meetings and our roles here. So we strive to uphold the values of Three Rivers, innovation, inclusion, and we have a special town and council is committed to contributing to sustainable growth. Council meetings are essential to our governance process, providing transparency in decision-making. Elected officials discuss finances, events, town maintenance, design, and bylaws, then vote on proposals. As mayor, I lead the council by tie votes if needed. Residents are encouraged to attend and participate, ensuring everyone can be part of the governance process. We value your input and aim to maintain a respectful and professional environment. Personal attacks and disruptions won't be tolerated. Let's make these meetings a reflection of our pride in Three Rivers. I'd like to also note, and I should say this at the first, that the meeting is recorded, and that if everybody could turn off their devices, it'd be great too. So our first speaker tonight is Darlene Scott, and Darlene is going to talk on the proposed development on Gall Street. Welcome, Darlene.
Thank you for making me feel so welcome.
Okay, you can.
The other one.
Okay, you're good to go.
I actually mostly want to talk about trees, Your Worship. Thank you for including me and for listening to the residents of the town. It's very much appreciated. So, by way of preamble, and I will be very brief, Montague Settlement is filled with trees, so many in fact that they seem dispensable. They're not, and the town of Three Rivers should consider protection of especially mature and heritage trees in our municipal canopy. They reduce flooding or its impacts, they cool the town core where asphalt cover is increasing, and they aid in both carbon storage and creation of oxygen. Please don't think I'm preaching. We've all been to the workshops on trees, and I know you understand that issue. In 2023, the town's official plan, where shrubbery is mentioned once that I can find, cited the need for a mixed-use zone in our town to permit, and I'm quoting, to permit a range of retail, commercial, and tourism-related oriented uses. They are to be evaluated against undue traffic, water and sanitary servicing, adequate setbacks, and I'm not sure I understand all the concepts of setbacks, so forgive me if I make an error, and mitigation of noise, lighting, or other impacts on adjacent properties. So that's the milieu. I say all of this because you have a proposal for Gall Road, which is residential in nature. It's none of the things mentioned that I can see in the official plan for mixed-use zoning or the need for the mixed-use zone. And it does need to be reviewed and viewed as a nice place to live with green space. I propose that the issue of impacts in the mixed-use section of that plan should include direct wording on green space and the protection of mature trees. In fact, only one of the 4 criteria, I think that's the water and sewer one, but again, I beg your pardon around the setbacks because I don't completely understand them, seems to be met in the proposal as I have reviewed it, and it hasn't changed. So importantly, a tree bylaw in our town would enhance an inventory of important trees if they exist, as has been done in Charlottetown. It's all online, it's even mapped. So I have a few brief recommendations. I think that the town of Three Rivers should establish a community-based advisory committee to research, advise, and comment on the municipal canopy with a view to improved landscaping decisions for development, whether those are new or renovative in nature, whether they are private, public, or corporate. I think terms of reference should be developed for the committee on a few things. I'll name several of them, but it's not a complete list. Seasonal reporting, scope of tree research that might need to be done within the municipality, in all areas of the municipality. Responsibility, in the terms of reference I'm talking about, to review development plans for treed lots if cutting is proposed. Developing guidelines for aesthetic values when trees are trimmed for safety. I understand that trees do need to be trimmed. They tend to be just lopped off on the top. And even the light and power people, Maritime Electric, needs to be aware of the need to take good care of a tree in our town, and I don't think that necessarily they do, but I could take that up with them. I think there should be a count of important trees in our canopy, similar to how Charlottetown has worked. I think the terms of reference should talk about advising on the need possibly for a tree protection bylaw. And the terms should include issues related to offset planting when a tree is removed. I'm talking here predominantly about mature trees because those are the most beneficial to the environment. Younger trees are harder on the environment than older trees are. I also think, that's about the terms of reference. I also think that Three Rivers should review all development requests from and/or to the planning board where mature trees are at risk of removal with a view to considering the trees an asset in the town. And they would be assets for drainage systems, air cooling, impacts on climate change. Some of them are more important than others. I think Three Rivers should review all current zoning to ensure that not only the R1s and R2s of the world, for example, have provisions for adequate green space with trees. So thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Turn it on.
Thank you, Darlene. Questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to acknowledge your concern for trees. When I came onto council, I was surprised to find that that hadn't been something that we had considered. But having been a newly amalgamated community with lots of other things, I'm sure other things were, there was a lot to consider. But going forward, I agree that there should be some consideration of trees, though it's tricky in a place that has such a large rural area. But I think there should be some consideration of that. So I'd just like to acknowledge that.
Yeah, thank you for your comments. And in fact, the majority of municipalities don't have adequate tree ordinances.
Okay, go ahead, Mary.
Well, thank you. Really, thank you for that, because there's nothing, I don't think, more important to the beauty of our town than our trees. When you come over the Wood Island Hill and you look at Montague, it has a nice tree line. And yeah, to speak to the Gall Street, I went up there and I looked at the trees, and there are some significant trees. I would love to see this committee struck and to do that. What happened in Georgetown this past spring along the sidewalk there, where there was trees cut down, that's serious, and it hurts when a tree goes down. It doesn't matter how old it is. The other thing is, if we could ever put it in our bylaws that, if you do construction in this town and you take down so many trees, that you replace so many trees in a building of significant size. There should be some work done around that. I agree.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Thank you. I just want to echo Martina's comments there. We lost some beautiful trees down in Georgetown, beautiful oak trees all along our main street. Looks terrible, but none of these things were put in place. So I support this committee 100% if we should form it. It should have been done long ago, because we probably will be planting little trees down on that street, and that's going to be a fight in my hands. So we do need mature trees. They were beautiful oak trees that were taken down, so.
Well, the best time to have planted a tree was 25 years ago.
There you go, exactly.
The next best time is tomorrow.
That's right. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you, Darlene. In the previous Montague bylaw, I believe we did have anything that was in the right-of-way. You did need permission to remove that tree, because I used to live in McDonald Avenue with all the lindens, and you could not cut those trees unless you had permission from the town, because they were in the 6-foot right-of-way. So I do agree, bringing back something, yes, a committee or some terms of reference for our trees is important, and we'll definitely talk about that.
Yes, thank you. And lindens are considered a heritage tree, one of 5 heritage trees on Considerate
Yeah,
Island.
they're beautiful.
They
yeah.
are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Darlene. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, thanks. Okay, next we have Randy Mitchell, who's going to talk about the Gall Road development. Welcome, Randy. I haven't gotten people to say that. Can you just say your name for the record? Is that what you were telling me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. So my name's Randy Mitchell, resident of Lower Montague and a co-owner of Anchor Construction Group. I'll be brief this evening. I just want to provide an update on some of the response to the feedback that was raised at the previous council meeting. So I seen 4 main concerns at the last meeting. One was the traffic concern. So I don't know if you guys have received a traffic study from the province yet, but I know I had reached out specifically just for this development for a traffic impact assessment. They did say none would be required. So, you know, I tend to agree with that, but I did do a small traffic count myself a couple weeks back. I sat at the mall parking lot from 4 to 5. I figured that'd be the busiest times. And I counted 25 vehicles that were leaving Gall, exiting onto Main. And I counted 5 vehicles coming, or sorry, the other way around. There was 25 vehicles coming from Main Street onto Gall Street and 5 vehicles leaving Gall Street going onto Main Street. So that's, that was with 2 vehicles, or 1 vehicle every 2 minutes. So I, you know, based on that, I don't feel that there's probably going to be adding 20, maybe 24 vehicles to that would be a 1 vehicle a minute. I don't think that's crazy traffic, I guess. So the second concern was the 2-lane traffic on Murphy Lane. So we had a meeting with DTI, Capital Projects, the engineer of record for the project, and ourselves, and we came to the conclusion that, you know, we should be widening the right of way down Murphy Lane. It was recommended to be 2 meters, and you know, that works out well for us. All of that 2 meters extension would be on our property solely, and that's not going to affect what's in front of you guys as terms of decision making. We're still within all the setback boundaries. All the bylaw requirements are still met. It would just be giving the province 2 meters of a right of way so we can make 2-lane traffic on that road. Another concern was the green space, and we certainly recognize, you know, having green space and high density development is not easy. In this project in particular, I think the parking requirements is really what's causing us not to be able to provide any more green space at 1.5 parking stalls per unit. If you look into the city of Charlottetown, they have for an affordable housing project like this, they reduce their parking requirement to 0.75 vehicles per unit. I think with the new bylaw that is coming, or hopefully soon, we could come back to council for an amendment to reduce the number of parking spaces required. And I believe in that bylaw, it's a cash in lieu donation to the town of $1,500 per parking spot. As much reduction as you could give us, we will certainly give you cash in lieu, and make sure that that is more green space on the property. I think looking at this project as a whole, it's close to everything. I don't think you're going to see the 36 vehicles that are shown there. I think that could be reduced greatly and still be adequate, and that would free up a lot more space in the property for green space. And the last thing was the building occupants. So I know CMHA did a good job kind of clarifying that this is an affordable rental apartment building. So anyone can rent this space. It's just like every other multi-unit in Three Rivers. So there's no specific group that's going to be occupying this building, except for obviously the commercial space is going to be CMHA. So they're going to move their office from Main Street to this building. And yeah, other than that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
You said about the park, and if you go less, it's coming off your guys' piece of property, right? You know, to eliminate a parking spot, was it?
For widening the right.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, so when that gets widened, that's only on our property. It wouldn't affect,
So it wouldn't affect one resident,
wouldn't affect the neighbors' properties, no.
okay? And
The
another,
meters is coming from our site.
and the other question was, what time did you say you did your little traffic survey?
Between 4 and 5 PM. I think it was on a Wednesday evening.
You know, a few people, I was through down Gull Street there the last couple of days talking to the residents and whatever, but would you ever think, do you think the province would even think of looking and trying to make it a one-way? That way, because when it comes time to go left, whether it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or it's 10:30, you're not getting out there.
Honestly, there was no, of those 5 that went from Gall onto Main, they all went right.
Right,
Yeah.
but there's lots that like to go left too, right?
Yeah, I would maybe
Right?
go right and go down to the
We-
lights if
right.
you wanted to go left.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not,
Well, I'm Aquarius too, that's what I'd probably do too.
you
but-
know, yeah.
Right?
It kind of makes sense, but,
But I mean, I think it'd be much easier to get rid of that traffic if they only got to go right and not try to go left.
yeah. It's probably not something I can speak to.
No, but you know what I'm saying in general,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, no, and again, what I observed was, they were only exiting to the right.
Yeah.
And they may have gone from down east, gone down Campbell Street and.
Like I would almost say that, I'm not saying you're telling a fib, but there's lots of traffic that go down that little Gull Street, right?
Again,
Right?
I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
I can assure that, but that is
Anyway.
between 4 and 5 PM.
Yeah.
Is when I just counted.
Anyways, that's just my thought, so thanks.
Yeah, I think Randy, you hit the nail on the head. We as a council and as a town have been waiting on the province for a long time on bylaws to be signed off on. I understand your permit meets all the requirements, but myself, I'd like to see some more green space too. So you said about the amendment, so do you see us amending this tonight based on the province signing the bylaws? Is that what you mean by amending?
No.
What do you mean by amending? Because
I mean-
you can't amend, whatever we approve is approved. So
Yeah.
I'm a little lost when you say you're going to amend. What does that mean? What does that look like?
I think if you come back, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they'd come back for an amendment on
The traffic.
Gould Street. I don't want to, talk about
Right.
Gould Street, but they'd come back and amend their plan. So what we would be looking for an amendment on at that point in time, if the new bylaws pass, like obviously between now, which is
Yeah.
getting a development permit so that they can even apply for
Yeah.
funding. Between that and paving a parking lot, we're not talking 2 weeks. You know, if you guys need to see an amendment showing that this, we would like to reduce the parking stalls by 30% to give 30% more green space, we would certainly take the time and come through planning board and council again. Or is it, maybe it could be a desk level amendment, I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, I guess it'd be up to council to amend that this evening based on the province signing the bylaws, right? Is really the way for the town and the council to.
Just let me understand, you would like to see something done.
So the way I'm understanding this is council this evening can approve this development, but the province has to sign off on the bylaws in order to get the green space that we require.
Not that you require, right now, it meets all the. 100%. Yeah, it meets everything right now, and even with the new bylaws, it still meets all the requirements. But if
Okay.
you guys want more green space, we're willing to certainly work with the town once new bylaws get passed.
Okay, I'm just gonna, turn this over to Lee for some comments here, if you don't mind, Lee.
Thank you, Worship. I think the wording's getting a little bit muddled by the sound of my observations. So amending pending bylaw. The bylaw proposed changes did have the parking offset of 10%, and that would go into a fund for the town to look into developing parking opportunities elsewhere to help alleviate other parking problems that we may or may not have. So that's one option open should that ever be signed off. The application you've got tonight, of course, as we all know, is bylaw compliant, and I would generally say official plan compliant. It is very much predicated on the delivery of those 1.5 spaces, which we've commented before does eat up an incredible amount of site coverage. But there's very little flexibility in the wording of that, and we did look at even potentially, is there a case for a variance here for that parking? And unfortunately, the answer is no, because the developer, the applicant, is able to provide those spaces. There's no intrinsic issue with the site that we could look at the variance criteria and adjust it like that. So we did explore that. So what we have is the landscaping condition, which is in there to deliver the hard and soft landscaping. I know that even with the potential changes to the site layout, the boundaries, the road widening, the developers made a commitment in those submissions to deliver a better quality landscaping scheme as part of that with additional planting. So perhaps that conditional requirement which is there can factor in. To change what's before you tonight with the decision to approve being predicated on the bylaw change would be reasonably unsafe, as those bylaw changes were proposed in 2024. We don't know when that might happen. If that happens, that would leave an incredible period of uncertainty. So yes, the acknowledgement of landscaping balanced high density development is there, and that is a difficult balance for you councillors. And you know, we're alive to those comments, and trying to find that balance may require a further bylaw change to actually to address that. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit of the position of what might be able to be done and what probably couldn't be done.
Well, just you know, from all other construction projects, the green space seems to be kind of a critical piece to this. So I'm not quite understanding how we can approve a project that doesn't have the requirement of green space. And you know, would it not be better if we held off? And with IRAC, you know, this 1.5 spaces per unit is crazy. Like they talk about land use, and then they cover so much with concrete or asphalt when it's not necessary. You know, I know you don't want us to hold off on this project, but there seems to be some unanswered questions that are being held up.
You don't have a requirement for green space. We are certainly willing to try and provide more.
You don't for 24 units?
In here for a second, please.
Thank you, Worship. Councillor, there isn't a requirement for green space. There used to be a requirement to deliver open space as part of that type of development. That was in the old Montague bylaws previous. So that requirement has fallen away when the current bylaw was adopted, and potentially in acknowledgement of the pressures to deliver housing and commercial development and trying to find those difficult balances. So we did some rough math. This particular development would be liable for 4,000 square feet of amenity space. So on that site, 4,000 square feet is 1,000 square feet more than the office space that's in those drawings before you. And that's a 3,000 square foot office, which occupies a significant part of the ground floor. So trying to balance, if we were under the old Montague bylaw, trying to find that space, Your Worship, would be extremely difficult and arguably contrary to the spirit of the higher density serviced urban settlement developments, which the plan advocates. So the plan speaks to this kind of development in this particular plan period. Previously, it was different, and we acknowledge that.
I do also think in the previous Montague bylaw, they considered that amenity space, I don't think it's specifically called green space, but amenity space. That also included the decks on the units themselves. So I believe these are, and again, I don't want to get into the math of it all, but I think there's 60 or 80 square feet a unit for the decks on these. But, and then I haven't totaled the green space that's actually there, but I could do that quickly.
Okay, any other questions for Randy? We did have a green space requirement in the old Montague bylaws. That was hard for me to adjust to too. And but there were some issues with it as well. And I guess neither is perfect, but we have to abide by what we have now. Go ahead, Ann.
So at this point, legally, we are required to follow our bylaws, which are the required number of parking spaces, which limits you on green space. We can't make a motion tonight based on if or when the new bylaw changes will happen. But what you're saying is you're standing before us here in public tonight saying that if those changes were made, the bylaw was passed, and those changes were made, you're committed to giving more green space instead of parking.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, is everybody clear with that? Okay, any more questions? Okay, thanks, Randy.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, no, thanks for addressing those things, we appreciate it. Okay, next on our agenda, we have Charlie Hicken, and it's request for additional staff in the finance department. Welcome, Charlie. You can come to the podium and turn the mic on and tell us who you are. Yep.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. My name is Charlie Hicken, and I am a resident and taxpayer here in Three Rivers. I am speaking to you this evening regarding the Finance Department's request for increased staffing. While I am not in a position to judge whether this request is fully justified, I listened closely as the department head made a compelling case for it. I was particularly impressed that she identified potential cost-saving measures to fund the position, such as transitioning to a paperless green office. Since this staffing request was not originally budgeted for, I would like to suggest an alternative source of funding that could save the municipality significant money to be used toward this position. Three Rivers has spent tens of thousands of taxpayers' dollars on legal fees resulting from permit appeals and contract disputes. Much of this litigation could be entirely avoided if controversial development permits were proactively reviewed by a certified licensed professional planner, a service that would cost a mere few $100 per review.
Yep. Cody, Charlie, excuse me, we're going to stop you right there for a minute, please.
The first part of what you're saying is fine, but now you're defaming one of our employees, which is against our code of conduct in this thing. So if you want to give suggestions on what you were, but now you're slandering an employee, and that's not tolerated.
No, I was talking about a department, not an employee.
No, you're not, Charlie, excuse me. Your request here tonight was for request for additional staff in the finance department. It has absolutely nothing to do with positions in our planning department. So if you have any more to say about that request for finance staff, you can continue. But if you're going to talk about planning staff, we've already clarified on numerous occasions the credentials of our planning staff. So, and when we send our bylaws and official plan into the province, they are reviewed at the province level and signed off. So if you want to talk about the finance department, go ahead, but planning is not in your request.
I'm certainly suggesting a way of saving money, but I'll finish by saying our bylaws must be enforced entirely and consistently.
No, excuse me, we're not talking about bylaws, we were talking about additional staff, so unless you have something else to do with the finance department, we have a point of privilege, and I'll ask you to sit down, please. Thank you for not sticking to your topic, and that's what we respect, and that's, I think I read that out at the first, that we don't do personal attacks and, at our meetings. You're welcome to come back anytime, but we do ask that you stick to your topic, that you phone in and tell us. So next we have Mike Monahan from the Station Pub. Welcome, Mike, and you come to the podium and you can turn on your mic.
Good evening.
Evening, Mike.
How is everybody?
We're good.
I'd like to thank you guys for allowing me to speak again. I know you all have thankless jobs and oftentimes have to make difficult decisions regarding the well-being of our community here at Three Rivers. Appreciate your time and attention you give to the concerns of the residents and business owners, and I hope tonight's remarks are received in the constructive spirit in which they are intended. Tonight I'd like to return to a simple principle. A person is only as good as their word. When we purchased and invested in Station Pub at the waterfront, we did so based on representations made to us by those responsible for overseeing the property. We were told that the space would effectively be ours for as long as we wish to operate, subject to only reasonable compliance with the agreement and responsible use of the facility. In fact, we were told, and this is a quote from the marina manager, "The space will be yours from the time of purchase until you see fit to sell the business. The only time there would be an issue is if there was constant infringements on the agreement or misuse of the space." Now, we relied on those insurances. We invested our money, our time, and countless hours of labor into that business that served residents, tourists, boaters, and the community organizations of Three Rivers. I'm here just to ask a simple question. What changed? Because despite everything that's been said publicly in recent days, we have yet to see evidence that we violated our lease agreement. Not one documented lease breach, not one warning letter identifying a lease violation, not one record showing that we failed to comply with the agreement that we signed. What we have seen instead are shifting explanations and accusations that do not match the facts. We have heard claims regarding flooding issues, yet time and time again, those allegations proved unfounded, and we worked alongside others at the property to clean up and continue business. We have heard concerns regarding frying equipment. When concerns were raised, we removed the equipment. There was no refusal, there was no dispute. We have heard mention of cardboard being stored on a boiler. A staff member did indeed make that mistake. She was immediately instructed not to do it again, and it never happened again. Those are not grounds for removing a long-standing tenant. We have also heard repeated statements regarding ventilation. Let's be clear about the facts. We did request ventilation. We did not request an industrial $50,000 fire suppression system. We requested a simple vent that would normally go over a stove like you have in an everyday household. It's basically a standard ventilation solution suitable for the operation of a food and beverage business inside that space at the waterfront. The town and the members of the board were aware of these discussions. Yet during public meetings, residents were left with the impression that we were demanding expensive infrastructure upgrades. It's not true. If meeting minutes exist from discussions at the AGMs or other meetings where these issues were discussed, then those records should speak for themselves. Unfortunately, we still do not have those records. In fact, despite repeated requests, we still do not have the meeting minutes, reports, correspondence, documentation that supposedly justify the decisions that have been made regarding our business. We have heard reference to a fire marshal consultation on November 19th. Why were we not consulted as owners of the business? We have heard reference to a report dated December 10th. It was never provided to us. How can allegations be made about our operation when the documents supporting the allegations have never even been shared with us? Transparency should not be optional. And another troubling issue is process. We were repeatedly told that attempts were made to work with us. From our perspective, there were only 2 attempts. One was over the Christmas holidays. As everybody knows, it's a busy time of year. You can't always make it. The other occurred the night before a meeting where it appears a decision had already been made that had no meaningful revisions that were being considered with regards to our lease. This is not negotiation. This is not collaboration. And it's certainly not the way commercial disputes should be handled.
Mike, just, we allow everybody 5 minutes, so I'm just have to be
Okay.
fair.
I'll
So
try and
if you want to
wrap it
finish
up.
up, yeah.
Anyway, the lease fundamentally changed our ability to operate as a food and beverage business. That should not surprise anyone. Commercial leases are reviewed by lawyers every day. I'd also like the council to consider a relationship between the town and MWDC. We've been repeatedly told that MWDC operates independently, yet the town's lawyer has been involved. So now we're paying a lawyer to try and come up with a lease agreement, and the town lawyer is stonewalling us, saying that, well, we can't come to an agreement. Doesn't really make sense to me, you know, because in the end, a person and organization is only as good as their word. Thank you.
I just want to say that. I'm sorry. I just want to say that your lawyer is involved, and the waterfront has asked the town to have their lawyer involved. So at this time, it is between lawyers, and we will not be having a discussion here tonight. I'm sorry.
It's not between lawyers anymore.
Well-
We've removed all our stuff from the property. It's,
Okay, but our lawyer, as far as I know, is still involved, and I think you do have a request for information. Did you? Yeah, and there is we have received a request for information for the information that you're looking for the documents. But at this time, it is still at our lawyer, so, and like, it is the waterfront you should be dealing with. Yeah, no, good evening.
Hey, guys.
Yep.
See you. Thank you.
Okay.
No speeding tickets yet. Watch out. See you guys later.
Yeah, can you turn the, down row? Okay, next, we have, the mayor's report, the CAO's report. Mine is written and it's in your package. I'll just go over a few things. We're busy, transitioning from the hockey season, which just ended sometime in May, and we're moving right into baseball, softball, pickleball, and soccer here in Three Rivers. Minor baseball has over 400 registrations, and we continue to have strong demand for recreation opportunities in Three Rivers for sure. The Three Rivers Minor Baseball Association will be hosting opening day for baseball and softball at the Cardigan Complex on June 13th. I think they've invited, I think there's an invitation out there for all the council to attend. The event will feature stations to try out for participants and a barbecue from 11 to 1. Once again, we've partnered with the Monica Regional High School to use its fields, although they're not available till later in the year or later in the season, I should say. And 2 fields in Georgetown are ready and being utilized. Organizing these programs for over 400 participants is just a tremendous undertaking. And I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to everyone involved with this association. Another thing I want to do is I also want to remind everybody how important it is to show respect and civility towards volunteers, coaches, and staff. I know sometimes things can get heated, but these people are mostly volunteers, And please just be mindful of that in today's society. Sometimes it does get out of hand. When I see the amount of organizing they do on their Facebook page and the number of posts they put out, it just amazes me that these people are volunteers. We're also pleased to have a newly formed Three Rivers Pickleball Club. Information on joining the club is on their Facebook page, and I understand they're planning a Learn to Play session sometime as well. It was an honor to attend the 20th Annual Business and Community Excellence Awards on May 8th with Councillors Van Donkersgoed and McDonald at Rod Brudenell. Congratulations to all the nominees and winners in each category. It was an excellent way to showcase the small business in Eastern PEI. The event was hosted by the Eastern Chamber of Commerce, and MCs Maureen Hanley and Martina McDonald did a great job. On May 30th, I participated in the well-attended IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's at the Montague Waterfront. These walks are held in communities across Canada, and the events raise funds through research programs and support services for people living with dementia and Alzheimer's. It was great to see a big crowd there. To further strengthen communication and engagement with residents, I will be launching a new initiative called Community Conversations. These informal one-on-one discussions will provide residents with an opportunity to meet me directly, to share ideas, discuss concerns, ask questions, or simply have a conversation about your community. Basically, I just want to hear from residents. The session will be held weekly at different locations, and the first one will be at the Monday, June 15th at the Civic Center in Georgetown. I look forward to seeing anybody that wants to drop in. As always, you can reach me through email or by calling the town hall. I'll turn it over to the CAO at this point.
Thank you, Your Worship. Again, my report is in your package. I'll just touch on a few things. First off, I want to note funding approval we received through the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund for the Montague Utility Water and Wastewater System upgrade. We've received funding under that program. The project has a total eligible cost of $5.9 million, or a little over that, with the Government of Canada providing $2.9 million, which is 50% of the project, and the province of PEI contributing up to 1.9, almost 2 million, which is 33.33% of the project. The funding commitment represents another significant investment in our town's water and wastewater infrastructure, and will support future residential and commercial growth in the community. So it's good to see that funding, and we'll have a proper press release and announcement on that as we work with the province and the federal government. On the human resource side, we're currently recruiting for 2 positions. The first one is a 1-year term for the executive assistant and clerk to council, and that's to provide coverage during Andrea McDonald's leave. We're pleased with the interest received in the opportunity, and likely be conducting interviews next week. In addition, the town is seeking applications for a seasonal full-time ice maker at the Cavendish Farms Wellness Center, and this position will play an important role in the operation and maintenance of the facility, including ice making and arena operations, and the closing for that is on the 12th of June. We're also really pleased to announce the appointment of Jonathan Gardner as the town's new arts and culture supervisor. Since joining the town, Jonathan has demonstrated wonderful attributes through his creativity, organization, and a strong commitment to coordination. So we're looking forward to Jonathan working in that role. He'll be responsible for supporting the operations of the Garden of the Gulf Museum and the King's Playhouse as the town continues to strengthen and enhance our arts and cultural programming. Also to note, the town and CUPE continue to make positive progress toward a collective agreement. Negotiations have been productive, and both parties have been working collaboratively to finish the remaining items. We'll likely have a collective agreement that will be coming to council here fairly shortly for review. Also note on the Tim Hortons renovations, we're excited to see the renovations across the street. This project is part of a national initiative by Tim Hortons to renovate 400 restaurants across Canada. I think at PEI, there's one new build and one renovation, which is our one in Montague. The important piece in this one will be the installation of a double drive-through, and that'll be a significant improvement for traffic flow on Main Street. The reconfiguration of the drive-through combined with coordinated traffic signal timing should result in an improvement in our traffic movement. And I just also added a note on bylaw enforcement. We continue to do regular patrols through the municipality while following up on a number of active files, and we've been providing council with a new weekly report. I'll be sharing one of those with internally tomorrow. During the reporting period, several property standards and unsightly property complaints were investigated, resulting in notices being issued for things including derelict vehicles, long grass, unsecured garbage, and general maintenance. Follow-up inspections confirmed that some violations have been addressed during the cleanup and different property concerns. And that's just my report in a nutshell. Any questions?
Thank you, Your
Go ahead,
Worship.
Cindy.
I'm very pleased to see Jonathan in this role. And he's going to be looking after the Garden of the Gulf. Is he still doing the role of recreation as well until the other lady comes back off maternity?
Yeah,
Because I don't want to, burn him out before he starts.
Yeah, no, he is still doing some work, although most of the work around the festivals is led by volunteers, and that's in place. And the other big piece of his work is getting the ball fields and that, and they're up and operating. So I actually sat down with him on Monday, and I said, how are you doing? He said, great. He said, I'm actually really excited about the playhouse, and that's where most of his energy is spent. He said, the other stuff has kind of got itself up and running. Yeah.
Okay, any more questions for John? Okay, we'll move on to our development permit report. It's 7.3. It's in your package, and as it's written, you can see that planning department is continue to be busy, and it's nice to see a number of single-family dwellings again in our report. Any comments or questions on the report? Okay, we'll move into 7.4, which is the planning board report. We'll turn that over to our planning chair, Ann. First is 7.4.1. I'll let you take it from there, Ann.
Thank you. Okay, so this is development application 62.26. The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motion. The extension of a multi-purpose building to provide a connecting corridor, maximum height of 13.29 meters, to the dormitory at 2661 Heatherdale Road, PID 483404. The conditions are: 1, the permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. 2, the plans are the drawing A1.0 received April 21st, 2026, drawings A1.1, A2.0, A2.1, A2.2, A3.0, A4.0, A4.1 received April 14th, 2026, and the application received April 14th, 2026.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Mover and so moved? Okay, moved and second. Okay, any discussion on this motion? So this is a corridor between existing buildings?
It's a breezeway.
Breezeway.
A fancy one, but it's breezeway.
Yeah, it is. Okay, any questions? No questions on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any nays? Okay, motion is carried. 7.4.2, I'll turn that over to you again, Ann.
Yep, I'll find my page. Should have found it ahead of time. I didn't. My apologies. Okay. 7.4.2, the development applications 67.26. The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motions. The development permit application for a 30-foot by 30-foot accessory building, so a garage, to be located in the front yard at 381 Mill Road, PID 853135, subject to the following conditions. 1, the permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. 2, any proposed changes or revisions must be submitted to the town for approval. 3, the following constitutes the approved plans. The development permit application submitted April 17th, 2026. The elevation plan submitted April 17th, 2026. And the floor plan submitted April 17th, 2026. So I move to put this on the floor.
Okay, you heard the motion, a second? Second by Councilman Rowe. Any questions to the chair on this motion? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Okay, motion is carried. We'll move on to 7.4.2.
Okay, development application 77.26. Okay, am I ahead of myself here? Sorry. Went too far, went too far. I don't have the written motion for. Yes, I do. Flipping my pages in the wrong direction. My apologies. Okay, 7.4.2. Therefore, the Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motion. The development permit application for a 30, nope, we just did that one. 4.3. There. Okay. 4.3 is not, so this is not in order. I will get to it. 4.3 is the
Recreation vehicle for 120 days. Do you
Yep.
want me to read this one?
On McKenna Drive.
Battlefield Road.
Okay, it's not here. Go ahead, you can read it. Go ahead and read it.
Okay, be it resolved. To return on the mic. Be it resolved that the sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days and a 7-foot by 16-foot lean-to wood shed with a 10-foot by 16-foot storage shed in preparation of land use for further residential development on PID 1182922 Valleyfield Road be approved subject to the following conditions. Condition 1, development permit application received May 9th, 2026. Condition 2, this permit is valid from June 9th, 2026 to October 7th, 2026, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from the site. Condition 3, within 12 months of the date of this permit, a residential dwelling shall be submitted for approval. Should the approved dwelling, the main building, not be commenced, the permitted accessory building shall be removed from the site. Condition 4, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly in an approved septic system or pumped from holding tanks and disposed of properly. Condition 5, plans, condition, site plan received May 9th, 2026, elevation plan received May 9th, 2026.
So
Okay, second, okay. Any discussion on this one? Okay. Okay, if there's no discussion on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. I don't hear any nays. Okay, we'll move on to 7.4.4, I believe.
Okay. So the Valleyfield Road? No. That is not what I have in front of me. and I have South Montague, and I don't have the other one. Why are they not here?
And do you want to follow them on here if you're?
I can't read on your computer. Sorry.
No, it's okay. They're all, if you can, I have the paper copies.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So, this isn't Valleyfield Road though.
We're doing,
McKenna Drive.
yeah, that's the next one I have up
Okay,
there,
I
I
have
think.
McKenna Drive over
Yep.
here. Don't know what happened to Valleyfield. Okay, therefore, the Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motion. The sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 45042920 McKenna Drive, Brudenell. Condition 1, the permit is valid from June 9th, 2026 to October 7th, 2026, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from the site. 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped into holding tanks and disposed of properly. 3, the site plan received April 29th, 2026, and the development application received April 29th, 2026. So moved.
Okay, seconder, please. Second by Deputy Mayor Jenkins. Any, oh, okay, sorry. Any discussion on this motion?
There's one.
Okay, go ahead, Wayne.
Where's McKenna Drive in Brudenell?
No, it's out by the King, no. So it's out by Pool's Corner. It's a new subdivision out there. Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
It's off the Robertson Road. Yeah, it's a private road subdivision
That's on the left, right?
on the right-hand side.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was out by Pool's Corner too. That's McKenna subdivision. Sorry. It was McKenna something. Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion, and if there's no nays, the motion is carried. Okay,
Sorry, I think I'm back on track.
okay. 7.4.5, yep.
The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motions. The sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 682575 South Montague Road, Route 353. Condition 1, the permit is valid for 120 days from the date of issue, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from the site. 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped into the holding tanks and disposed of properly. 3, the development application received May 5th, 2026, and the site plan and photo received May 5th, 2026.
Okay, so
moved.
moved. Second? Okay, second by Councillor Spin. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, don't hear any nays, so the motion is carried. 7.4.7 is the next one. 7.4.6, sorry.
Okay. The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motion. The development permit application for a 24-foot by 24-foot accessory structure, a garage to be located in the front yard at 3353 Primrose Road, Cardigan, PID 1087964, subject to the following conditions. The condition 1, the permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. 2, any proposed changes or revisions must be submitted to the town for approval. 3, the following constitutes the approved plans. The development permit application submitted May 8th, 2026, elevation plan submitted May 8th, 2026, and the floor plan submitted May 8th, 2026. So moved.
Second, by Councillor Monroe. Discussion on the motion? No discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, motion's carried. Now we're down to 7.4.7.
Okay. The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommend to council to approve the following motion. The proposed three-story mixed-use development with 24 residential units and 3,000 square foot of office space at Murphy Lane and Gall Road, Montague, PIDs 199232, 198887, and 199224 with the following conditions. The permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. Any proposed changes or revisions from the approved plans must be submitted to the development officer for approval. Prior to construction, a construction erosion control plan shall be submitted to the development officer for approval. The plan shall include all locations of all silt fencing, silt dams, sediment traps, and all other proposed means of erosion control marked on an appropriate plan. All approved silt controls shall be implemented at the time of commencement and maintained throughout the construction period. The applicant shall be responsible for all remedial measures arising from construction impacts, including road cleaning when required. The applicant is required to obtain an entrance culvert permit from the Department of Transportation, Infrastructure and Energy. 5, a master servicing plan shall be provided to the Montague Water and Sewer Collection and Treatment Corporation for review and approval prior to the commencement of development. 6, all soft and hard landscaping shall be completed prior to the first occupation of the building unless agreed upon by the development officer. 7, the development shall not be commenced until such time as parcels 199232, 198887, and 199224 have been issued a final consolidation approval. 8, the following constitutes the approved plans. The development permit application form received April 10th, 2026. Drawings A000, A100, A101, A102, A104, A200, A201, A300 received April 10th, 2026. And drawing C100 revised received April 14th, 2026. So moved.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Second? Second by Deputy Mayor Jenkins. Discussion on this motion. Go ahead, Councillor Spin.
Well, the last couple of days I've banged on a few doors on Gull Street, and I figured it was very important to hear their point of view because it's going to be in their neighborhood. Lots are definitely not in favor of it. Whether it's the street is in such bad shape, it's too big, it's everything. And sitting in this chair, I think I'm supposed to be here for the people. So what I have heard and listened to, I will not be supporting this.
Okay, any other comments? Go ahead, Cindy.
I too agree with Councillor Spin. I will not be supporting this as well. I think there needs to be more, I believe there should be a study for the traffic. And I'm not sure if I like the look of where it's going and in the surrounding community there. So we do have to listen to our residents. So I think we should either get the study for the roadway, and there should be, I don't think all the questions have been answered actually, that were concerning this. So I will not be passing this through.
Didn't we, just 1 second, the study for the road, didn't we pass that around?
Yeah, we sent it everyone. Yeah.
The traffic study was sent around to everyone. It didn't.
Yeah, but it didn't say a whole heck of a lot. It didn't answer a whole lot of questions. It was very vague. So in my opinion, the transportation dropped the ball on this and are putting it on our shoulders. So no, I'm not putting this through.
Yep, no, I just wanted to make sure you had the traffic study. Okay. Okay, Ann, go ahead.
While I appreciate the concerns of the residents, we have a legal obligation to follow the rules set out in our official plan and bylaws. This is a mixed-use zone. This development meets all the legal requirements of our bylaws and our official plan. We have a need for housing, and I think it should be considered on its merit. And I appreciate the concerns of the neighborhood, and I appreciate the concerns of the green space. I still think that we still need housing. I sit on another board and that involves housing in this community, and there is a desperate need for affordable housing, especially studio apartments and one-bedroom apartments, and this will meet some of those. So for those reasons, I'm in favor.
Okay, any other? Okay, all in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 1, 2. Okay, we only have all the nays. Raise your hand. Okay, we have a 4-2, so the motion is defeated. I just want to say this has been a very difficult decision. It's been talked about a great deal. There is a fine line, I guess, in this day and age, trying to provide housing of different types. And with that, density does lessen the burden on farmland. We were very criticized for the daycare and the apartment building up on Queens Road for using farmland for that. So there is, you know, there is a balance that we have to meet as a town. When our new bylaws, if they get signed, which I wish, I'm hoping that will happen. I'm optimistic that at some point it will happen. This could have been different. I would have liked to have seen the trees saved, Randy, and I would have liked to have seen more green space. After living in the town for 40-some years, I understand the residents' concerns. That area is changing, and change does happen, but it was a very difficult decision, I know, for council. So anyway, if our bylaws change, some of these similar might end up providing more green space, saving trees, and maybe fitting in better with these areas. So anyway, it wasn't an easy decision, and I do thank all the residents for coming and sharing your thoughts on this. So thank you, and the decision is what council said, so the motion is defeated. Councillor Spin?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, you know, first of all, it's a privilege to sit in this seat for Three Rivers, for the people. I'm glad I actually went to the door and heard their point of view. And it's not, everybody thinks it's easy sitting up here and making decisions, but it's really hard when everybody here tonight, we know everybody, or we're related to somebody. And, you know, I voted against it. Well, the people that want it, they are my friends or whatever, but I just want to let people realize it's not as easy as you think just to sit up here and say no or yes, because we're supposed to be, I think we're supposed to be for the people, so thanks.
Okay, Martina?
Well, I'd like to say the same as Wayne. I did hear from the community a lot on this, and although I really value Anchored Construction and all that you've brought to this community, I think you're a huge asset. You are having a construction company that hires so many people. I went down, I looked at the space, I thought it is so small. And I looked at the one across from the curling club that is by the brook there, and I look at green space and there isn't any. There's steel fence, there's pavement, and then there's their little decks, which are not much bigger than these two desks put together. And as much as we need this housing, I 100% agree with Ann that we do. I'd love to keep looking for another location for just this, or, you know, work on that parking lot piece and leave a lot of trees standing and build a mini green space for the people in that area, whether it's, I actually, you know, I just came back from visiting several housing units, and almost all of them that we visited had public gardens, had the, above ground gardens, and the pride that people took in that. And if we just pave everything and cover everything with asphalt, we aren't creating public gardens create conversations and neighborly conversations, and I think we need to be very, very conscious of that going forward. So I know density is a thing to put it right in the heart of the community so that we're not using any more farmland, but this just doesn't feel right.
Okay, nobody else? We'll move on to 7.5, which is the financial report. And I'll ask Dawn, does she want?
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship. So this is our first financial statement of the new fiscal year. So we're looking at 1 month of activity at this point. As of April 30th, revenues total $443,800, which is about $7,600 ahead of the projected prorated budget. This variance is mainly due to plan and fee revenue coming in stronger than predicted for the first month. Expenses are $360,200, which is about $39,000 below the prorated budget. This is largely due to timing, as several seasonal programs, projects, and operational activities have not yet commenced in our current fiscal year. As a result, the town is reporting an operating surplus of $83,600 compared to the prorated budget surplus of $36,900. While this puts us ahead of budget at this point in the year, it's important to remember that many expenditures occur later in the spring, summer, and fall, so we would expect the variance to narrow as the year progresses. After accounting for principal loan repayments of $22,765, the town has maintained a positive year-to-date cash flow surplus of $60,800 as of April 30th. Overall, finance has not identified any significant concerns at this time, and the town's financial position remains stable. Given that we're only 1 month into the fiscal year, the town's financial results are generally tracking as expected. Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn. It's always nice to hear that report. Thank you. Questions for Dawn? Okay. Okay, we'll move into 7.6. It's the IRAC appeal. I'm not sure if Patrick or I think it's Lee. Okay, go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, Worship. So we've had the 4th appeal decision through from IRAC that we've had since we've been Three Rivers. We've had 4 appeals lodged against us. We have had 4 dismissed appeals. This is the 4th dismissed one, the 2nd of the appellant, Mr. Hicken. I find myself agreeing with him. I wish we had less appeals. I know, I write them. I write the response statements. We then pass those to the lawyers. It's quite an extensive piece of work to defend an appeal. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort. It's a multi-page document. All the arguments have to be in place. We have to try to nip this in the bud at the first. So IRAC are focusing on, are you aggrieved? Are you the aggrieved person? Now, I think I've said this before. It's set out in the Act on what an aggrieved person is. And then they begin to examine the statements made. And what IRAC are telling municipalities, and you can read this in many of the IRAC decisions, as we do, is that it's not simply good enough to launch an appeal. It has to have substance. You have to demonstrate on the balance of probabilities that you are an aggrieved person. Time and time again, we are seeing in IRAC's decisions that that higher level, that higher bar is not being met. Now, unfortunately, there is no way of dealing with these any faster or any quicker or any better on resources. A response has to be made when a valid appeal is made. And that's the situation we're in. But what we should be taking, Your Worship, is that Council, you're making the right decisions and the right decisions are coming out. The last 2 items were related to the institutional zones. Now we know that those have to go to Planning Board and Council every time. And those decisions to have appeals against them and for those to be dismissed, and this one in swift order, 60 days versus 11.5 months previously, we can sort of see where IRAC are going with this, which is trying to deal with this much, much quicker, bring back some confidence in the development process. And it's a very good read. I won't go through it all, and I'm mindful of the time, Your Worship, but I would encourage you all to read the decision, to read the grounds of appeal, to read IRAC's commentary on those grounds and how they are dealt with line by line. Now, we will continue to defend appeals, Your Worship. We have to. It's part of our duty. But I would suggest we are darn good at it, and we've got a good record, and it's a reflection on the decision-making of this forum. So I won't say any more. Thank you.
Yes, Lee, I do agree for appeals, and it should give everybody here and the planning board, I see Louise here tonight, a lot of confidence in the decisions they have made. So yes, thank you for pointing that out to us. Sometimes we need that. Okay, so we'll down to number 8, request for decision from Committee of Council, and this is for the Finance Department Administrative Support request. And I'm going to turn this over to the CAO because at the Committee of Council meeting, Council definitely had a lot of questions on this, so I've asked John to bring the information back to us. Okay.
So, Your Worship, I'd like to go to the podium and.
Oh, sorry. I need to move and second. We need a motion to approve your IRAC report, right? No, on which? Yes, sorry. Thank you. This has been a long night. Okay, the request for decision needs to be moved and seconded. I'm sorry. I thought you moved by Ann, second by Martina. Okay. So discussion, we'll move ahead with the discussion. Thank you.
So if it's okay, I'll go to the podium,
Yes,
connect my
yep.
computer, and walk you through a bit of a
Yep.
presentation. It'll take me a couple of minutes to get connected.
Thanks. Yeah, we didn't have to.
The request from the Finance Department was for reception/administrative support. And at the last meeting, I was asked to come back with a bit more information. I wasn't available for the last council meeting. So the request or the proposal from the Finance Department is to approve the hire of an administrative assistant. Finance Department was for reception. Oh, just one sec. There we go.
Yeah, we're talking twice then.
It is getting to be a long night. Basically, to hire an administrative assistant to support the operational administrative demands. In their report to council, they noted that the addition of admin assistant would provide dedicated reception and administrative support, allow accounting staff to focus on the financial and accounting duties, to improve workflow efficiency and customer service delivery, to support organizational growth and increased service demands, and to strengthen overall department effectiveness and continuity. So what I took from the meeting is that there's really two fundamental are three fundamental questions that need to be answered as part of this review. Does the workload warrant the hiring of a dedicated administrative assistant? And two, if so, how do you fund this? As we hadn't identified this in the 26-27 budget process. These are very fair questions. And I think there's a question around what percentage of our budget is currently supporting administrative services. So just a bit of a background, the current structure that we have in the finances, we have a manager of finance, Don, a finance coordinator, and two finance technicians, one of whom sits at the front desk and does the reception part of the work. We actually have no administrative assistant in town hall at this time. We did, one of the finance technicians was acting as admin assistant at one time. We changed that role because she was actually doing a lot of accounting, and we changed that to reflect that position. So the only administrative assistant role that we have here is executive assistant, which is completely different than what we're looking for here. So the current finance technician, her duties are accounts payable. So what Dawn has done with the finance department is that we have one person that does accounts payable, one person that does accounts receivable, and Dawn and the accounting coordinator work with that. And that separation of duties is important for financial integrity, and it's something that's noted by our annual audit. So the person that's sitting at the front desk now that's doing that technician and reception duties is doing all the accounts payable for town operations. And that's a $6 million piece right there in our total budget. She's also doing accounts payable for water and sewer utility for Montague, Georgetown Sewer Utility, the King's Playhouse, Cabinet Insurance Wellness Center, Montague Waterfront Development Corporation, Garden of the Golf Museum, and Three Rivers Sportsplex. In addition to that, she's also managing our front office inquiries, taking all telephone calls and directing them to the appropriate person, directing residents to meet with planning staff, myself, mayor, whomever. She also processes any payments that come in for both utilities and helps with general admission. There was a question around tracking how many people come into our office. We stopped tracking a little while ago. When we changed the way we man the Georgetown office. So a little while ago, we made a change that all 11 staff take a turn at the Georgetown office, so we have a rotating schedule. So when we started that, we stopped tracking because it just didn't make sense, and it works the way it is. But if I look back at older data, so if you look at October, and October is a month where people pay their water and sewer bills. So the Montague office had 131 in-person visits in October, Georgetown at 17. And again, I mentioned that's a payment period. But if I look at the previous month for Montague, we still had 100 visits. So there's less people coming into Montague to pay their bills, but we still have a fair bit of foot traffic. And as I mentioned, currently all 11 office staff take turns at manning the office in Georgetown. However, once we get a collective agreement in place, that's going to change. It'll have to fall under the administrative finance team because it's part of their job duties. The planning staff won't be able to do that. Management won't be able to do that. And so that's going to add an extra layer on top of what we're doing. So right now that impact is our person at the front desk is doing our payables has frequent interruptions. It does reduce her productivity. It does delay accounting her processing. It does increase the risk of errors. It makes it difficult to complete complex financial work, and it does create a bit of a bottleneck. As you can understand, financial work requires sustained concentration and accuracy. That's what we aim for.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Who does payroll?
Courtney.
Courtney and myself, I do certain portions of it, and she does.
Okay.
And we do payroll for 118 people.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that. Okay. So it's Courtney.
When you take all the different entities, we don't have 118 on town payroll, but when you do the payroll for water and sewer, museum, playhouse, There's actually, and seasonal people, there's 118 people that are paid through this.
Yep, no, okay, I just wasn't sure where that fell. Thanks.
And the scope of work, since amalgamation, we are seeing that growth. And we see it in the development. But the more development we have here, the more people that are coming in to meet with planning staff. Our operations have grown extensively. Again, we look after 2 utilities, 2 arenas, playhouse, waterfront, museum. When I meet with other CAOs and I tell them about the amount of infrastructure that we manage in Three Rivers with basically 11 people in this office, they're amazed at the amount of infrastructure we have. But it's because we're a regional hub, and that's part of that. So all those entities together, we're managing $8.4 million that our finance staff is. And they're doing that, and they're also, as I mentioned, payroll for 118 people. So again, the proposal from the finance department would be to hire a receptionist / administrative assistant whose primary duties would be front desk reception, telephone coverage, customer service. They would also be trained to process the payments that come in for the water and sewer, or often people come in and pay for things at other entities. They would provide administrative support. They would provide assistance to the different departments and all the associated entities. And then they would provide office support for Georgetown. And I noted the benefits there. So how do you pay for it? So we identified this as a grade 3 or level 3, which is $40,000 to $50,000 per annum. I see Stratford is actually advertising for a administrative assistant. They have theirs at level 3. They currently have a job on their website. Now at the 26-27 budget, we did include a position for a community liaison, and that was something that we had saw Jonathan morphing his role into. However, at the time, we didn't realize that we were going to be managing the King's Playhouse. So that position will not be filled, that liaison position, as that employee is now the arts and culture supervisor. And we're seeing about 80% of that salary would come from the Playhouse operations, and then 20% of that would come from museum or the town activities. So the result of that, not using that funding that we'd already set aside, actually Don and I did the math today, and if you added a receptionist and the savings you have on the other side, we're actually about $1,000 to do good for the remainder of the year. So we do have existing budget capacity. We also have a $2.7 million retained surplus over time too. So we can fund it with no increase to the operating budget. Again, it's a decision of council. If you approve this, you know, we'll make it work, and if you don't, we'll make it work too. But I think the finance group can make a strong case given the amount of work that they're experiencing, and the fact that we have someone that is pretty often taken away from her main duties, which are, you know, pretty significant. Any questions?
Thank you for this, John. It's very informative. But when you're talking about people coming into the office here and going into the Georgetown office, you're talking a lot more population here than there is in Georgetown. I understand that. And, you know, we're going to have to weigh the options of, is Georgetown viable to be keeping open? I know that's coming down the pipe. And we will, as councillors for the board, will get a lot of flack over that. But hey, we have to do certain things. So with that said, each department here does have an assistant, I do believe. The planning board has an assistant, do they not? Does everybody not have an assistant? Yes, okay, everybody has an assistant. The problem I have with this, I know our staff work very, very hard, and they're very, very good at what they do. But maybe it's just timing or whatever, but we couldn't find money for the Playhouse. So now.
Playhouse actually never asked for money either. They never
That's
asked
not
for
true.
staff.
That's not true. We did ask for money on several occasions. We've asked the last meeting for $40,000. So all of a sudden, we're finding the money here for another staff person. It's just not sitting right with me. We've been dealing with, like, everything that you're talking about receptionist, talking to the public, giving good service and knowing all about the community and stuff. We asked the last EA that's down there to do exactly the same thing and asked for another person to help her. We couldn't get one. So that's what I'm concerned about. It might be bad timing, and we probably do need it here, but I will be not supporting this tonight.
But you have to realize, we were not managing the Playhouse when.
But we are responsible for the Playhouse, and we are giving the Playhouse $78,000 a year out of this budget.
But we were not managing it.
No,
It was
but we're
managed
going
by-
to,
by
we're
a
going to
board.
now, and
And
we're
it's
going to
also-
have two people, are we not, John?
What's that?
Are we not having two people down there now?
Yeah.
We've hired another person, so what about hiring there was another position that was supposed to be there, was artistic director. Have we filled that role?
Not yet, but you'll be seeing it advertised very soon.
Very shortly? I hope so.
Yeah. And also need to remind you, it's not staff that decide whether funding goes to the Playhouse.
It's
or-
council.
It's council.
Yes, I know that. But I also know that we've asked for money different times and never got it, so.
I guess recently, Cindy, I think the town has been very generous towards the Playhouse. And don't get me wrong, I support the Playhouse, but recently I don't think the Playhouse would be what it is right without the town support. And I think trying to compare two positions at the Playhouse to the workloads are just kind of like apples and oranges, in my opinion. But don't get me wrong, yes, and we do have two positions. We will have two positions there now. But I think we're talking two totally different roles here.
I also want to mention, I was asked a question about traffic at the two offices. And I was just responding with factual. I actually quite enjoy going to Georgetown. Don't see anyone, but you do get a lot done.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, Cindy, my understanding is that until recently, the Playhouse was managed by a board. Was there something preventing that board from hiring people and for increasing their revenue and doing different things? Like, I understood that it was independent management up until recently, and so maybe I've misunderstood.
I can.
Okay, Cindy, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Cindy. You should be okay now.
Thank you, Ann. I don't know how to respond to that, Ann, to tell you the truth. Yes, the board, with the previous EAs that have been there, they have had to fulfill everything that John mentioned here, but all of this, plus find acts for the Playhouse and do all of that. So yes, there was probably a lot of mismanagement with the board. I'm not saying that they're infallible, because they're not. You're talking about a bunch of volunteers here. So over the years, it's been a lot of different things that have been happening to the Playhouse. So, but to me, it just seems really bad timing here within I feel, this is my personal opinion, is that we didn't have any money to give to the Playhouse. The Playhouse was needing a lot of things to be taken care of, maintenance and different things, and that falls on the EA that's there. So there's a lot of factors, but I just think it's bad timing that we couldn't get any money and all of a sudden we can come up with some money for this. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say lights off here. If you're not speaking to, yeah. John, can you repeat that?
Oh, I was just saying, we did.
His mic is still on.
Martina, can you shut your
Just raise your hand for a minute. There's just a lot of mics on.
I just said, in terms of the maintenance, we did spend about $300,000 in the basement and stuff like that. Now, there's an old saying that you can't unwind a clock.
No, you can't.
what I'm saying is that once we took over the management of the playhouse internally, the first thing we identified is that we need 2 positions, which we'll be filling. So I can't do anything about what happened before, but we've already identified that the playhouse was understaffed. And going forward, that'll change.
Okay, just so you can go back and forth on, okay, yeah, okay, next I believe I have Ann.
So just to be clear though, Cindy, so that we're clear and we're the public and this is all on record. So was there a time when you came to council in the last year when you asked money for the playhouse to council and the council said no? Because I don't have a record of that.
I don't need my mic. No, I don't believe we came to council. You need your mic. Hear me? No, I do not believe we came to council with that.
Okay, next I have Alan. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, so going to the motion we're speaking on, I'm all in favor of it. To further Cindy's comments, I'll go on the record as saying, I don't think if it wasn't for Town of Three Rivers, the Georgetown Playhouse would even be open. We've spent a lot of money the last 8 years down there that I've been on this council, so that's my opinion. And my opinion is also that I'm not sure the Georgetown office should stay open. I understand it's important to Georgetowners, but I'm not sure that 6 visits in a month really is good use of taxpayers' money across all of Three Rivers. So I'll be voting in favor of this. Thanks.
Martina, go ahead.
Alan pretty much said what I was going to say. I'm in favor of additional staff. There's, for whatever it takes. Like you, Alan, I saw so much money spent, like generators, new panels on the playhouse. We spent, to prepare it as a wellness center, and all that's great. I'm going to raise what Alan raised, and it's perhaps not the time, but I'm going to say it anyway, is the Georgetown office. Maybe now is a good time to ask about cost efficiencies of having that office down there to service 100 people coming in to pay a bill here and 7 people going in to pay there. I know that there's a magnificent town hall office in Cardigan too that I was helped build at the time. And it's vacant and looks desolate and isolated. I think if we were to ask our CAO to calculate mileage, because I understand the staff that are requested to go to Georgetown get paid mileage from here to there every single time they go down there, is that good use of taxpayers' money? And so if we were to have that town hall in Georgetown available to the public, maybe even to the Playhouse as an office, as a dressing room, whatever, or available to the public to rent, that would be revenue to assist in paying for this additional staff member that we have. Anyway, I would like the numbers on what the mileage is every year for traveling back and forth to Georgetown with the staff. Because the reason I know this is I've talked to staff and I said, can you just talk to so-and-so and they said, no, I'm in Georgetown for the day. Oh, are you? All alone? Yeah, all alone, sitting here. Didn't see anybody, but they're all alone sitting in Georgetown. So I just don't think that's really good use of taxpayers' money. Thanks.
Okay, Cody, next.
So it's, we kind of got off topic. I support the position. I defended it at the time. I think Cindy has some very valid points of maybe how it was done and how it was presented. And there's probably a real conversation of where we are with the Playhouse and where we're going. As for comments of we spent money there on maintenance and stuff, it's not pertinent to the conversation. We had a lot of town entities that we've put a lot of money into in maintenance and stuff. So I think bringing that into the conversation is not applicable. I mean, if we want to talk about the real problem here, or maybe not the problem, we were all towns before who all had problems, who came together knowing we had problems, and we made certain conditions and deals that we wouldn't sacrifice, or coming together would be able to support these facilities better, right? The rinks, the Playhouse, the ball fields, like that's why we're here today as Three Rivers. And, this feels like a conversation we had 6 years ago on the first council. I really feel this is a step back tonight.
Yeah.
We should have stayed focused. Maybe I should have talked earlier. But, John, this is where you've had some really good conversations, And, you know, this is where, I'm not trying to knock people, it's a volunteer board. If, you know, if I want to start getting maybe a little sort of taking jabs that I feel like some of this was, I would say the only good board, and I'm not going to do it, but there was only one good board that was operating any entity before we amalgamated. And it was the Rink in Georgetown, because it was the only one that was doing any sort of financial success. But our goal, and I think we've seen now, is as much as we want to thank the volunteers for all their years of service, now that we're this bigger town, we've proven that taking all of these boards and taking all these assets under our management is the way to go. And I think we're almost there. There might only be one or two left. And I think with the last couple of weeks, we know which one's going next. And I mean, I think that's clear direction the council has given you. So I'm interested in seeing that next step. And yes, we're here to support all our town entities that we always have. Like, this isn't it's not the Playhouse is the first one and this came up. We had a major problem last year with another entity, right? That I believe cost more money and still owes more money, right? Like, we can have these jab conversations. That's not what we should be doing. So we'll talk about this position. We're gonna fill it. John, thank you for your support, and staff for the support of the Playhouse. We're gonna be there for them. And, you know, let's talk about moving ahead and being positive than this negative conversation and coming back with all these little pokes.
I think one important point you made is it's a lot to ask a board to manage town-owned facilities today with the intricacies of human resources and liability and challenges that they have on a day-to-day, and expecting them to look after a certain amount of maintenance while the town looks after. It's not an easy task, and not one that I would want to sit on a volunteer board and try to take that on. So it's a lot for any board, any organization. I will say that we have a strong commitment to make that Playhouse as successful as possible, and I think we're going to do it.
Okay. Thank you, John, for the presentation. Cody, thank you to bringing us back to where we should be, because you were absolutely right. This sounds like a conversation we had in 2019, and thank you for that. And so you've heard the motion, you've heard John's information. We have a mover and a seconder, and all in favor? Aye. The nays? Okay, we have one nay. Two nays, who's the, Wayne? Okay, we have two nays, okay. Okay, I think that is the end of, yeah. Okay, we need a motion to move into a closed session. Moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor McLean. Okay, all in favor? We will come back if we need to make another, we will reopen the meeting if we need to make another motion. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and come back and see us next month or for COC.